The East series has always been one of my favorite video game franchises. Something about the setting, characters, and plot just appeals to my childlike sense of adventure in a way that few games can. Ah, twins, the only creature on the planet that spends the first 15 years of its life as the creepiest thing you've ever seen, and then somehow metamorphosizes into the hottest thing in the world. Am I the only one who noticed the obsession the 80s and 90s anime had with nippleless tits? The series revolves around Adol Christin, who is the last ginger on the planet, so naturally everyone wants him dead. The game opens with Adol sailing directly into a storm like a fucking moron.
Lord, you didn't try to sail through it.
Adol wakes up in some clinic, and once Nurse Joy finishes fondling his Pokeballs, he's ready to set off. If you're bothered by the sex joke, get used to them. If you've played this series, you know that Adol meets roughly 1,200 eligible bachelorettes in his adventures and never seems interested in any of them. I could segue this into a rambling discussion about how repressed Japanese culture seems to be, which has in turn given birth to such a perverse underground of porn, and maybe compare that to the similarly repressed Victorian culture that gave birth to similar levels of perversion. But I lack the intelligence for such discourse, so I'ma stick to the booby jokes. Once out in the field, you're introduced to this game's combat system. Now, being an old school RPG, you may expect the combat to be turn-based, or maybe real-time hack and slash, or perhaps an amalgam of the two. Instead, Adol shows us that once you've made it to the town of Mini-Me, you meet a fortune teller who says she has a favor to ask, but needs some equipment first. After completely misreading her signals, you begrudgingly get a refund from Spencer's Gifts and put that money towards a sword and some armor. Then this bitch starts going on about the Book of Mormon and you're like, okay, I'm out of here. And then you remember that this is a JRPG and no translates to Ask Me Again. When I was a kid, I had a theory that so many JRPGs do this as part of some subliminal messaging campaign by the Japanese government to indoctrinate gamers into always saying yes to authority. I may have been a paranoid child. Once you've made it to Zitpick Village, you meet up with old lady Jebediah who gives you this antique dildo and sends you off.
Grandma, what are you doing in the woods again?
You should keep away from the shrine on the mountain. They say it's haunted by hooded ghouls.
Uh-huh. Guys, I think Grandma's off her meds again.
The mayor also asks you to get back their magical silver bell from the thieves. And the thieves are like, yeah, we didn't take it. And the mayor is like, well, who else but them could have taken it? And the thieves are like, yeah, we didn't take it. And you're like, okay. You head north to the shrine, and once inside, you soon enter your first boss battle, where you promptly die. Then you remember this game was made 20 years ago, and you haven't saved it in about 2 hours. Deciding to take things slower this time around, Adol heads into a nearby hospital to buy healing supplies. So, Lisa, what say you patch up all these gaping sword wounds and we see where it leads? We also meet this girl who wants us to find her harmonica. If you couldn't already tell by the fact that she's one of the only people you've met so far who has a character portrait, or the fact that we saw her tits in the intro cinematic, this chick is gonna be a pretty big deal. While trying to grind up enough XP to cheese the boss, you stumble into this cave, where you are instantly one-shotted by an infected nutsack. Then you stumble onto this little piggy and obliterate it. By accident. I swear, I have nothing against pigs.
Is your piggy, is your piggy gonna die? Is your piggy gonna die? Had to be done.
Once you've finally gotten the pattern down, and by that I mean discovered the 5 pixels you can actually stand on without being damaged, the boss is defeated.
Fuck you, Sauron.
Adol proceeds through the new doorway. Deeper in the shrine, you find a girl locked up in a prison cell. In any other story made ever in the ever of ever, this would be the beginning of a romance subplot. But as we've already established, Adol doesn't like girls. They have cooties. I know I'm harping on this, and I get that only about 5 years have passed during the course of the franchise, but it really does seem odd to me that this guy has absolutely no interest in any of the women he meets. Then again, there are a few entries I never got a chance to play, so maybe there's a reason. After staging an episode of Law & Order SVU, Adol drops her off at Jebediah's house. Deeper into the shrine, you find a strange door that gives off a foreboding message before you enter. Holy shit, what the fuck? fuck is that? How am I gonna... After defeating the boss, you get the first book and return to Jebediah. There you find Fina has recovered her strength. Seriously, look at her eyes. How does Adol not get that she wants... I'ma shut up about it. His loss. You return to Sarah so that she can translate the book and discover that she's been murdered. Oh no. Hey, I have enough money for some better armor. Oh, found some better armor. Back in the mines, you find Rhea's harmonica, as well as a seed that you eat because why not? But I already heard this song in the opening. Play something new. Do Freebird. Oh, by the way, your granddaughter died. Rhea reads you some of her DeviantArt poetry. Then the Great Deku Tree gives you a sword for some reason. I don't know, I stopped understanding the plot about an hour ago. How does he not fall in love with her? It doesn't make any sense! After rescuing Mike Birbiglia and learning that a man is a miserable little pile of secrets, we finally get to enter the damn tower, and are promptly caught and imprisoned. Mike, tell me the one about the celebrity golf trip. I love that one. So by now you will have realized that, unlike real life, blue-haired babes in this game are kind, innocent, and sweet. So like any good gentleman, I've ranked them in terms of fuckability. On level 1 you have Harmonica Bitch. Level 2 is Amnesia Girl. And on level 3 is...
Please don't take my walking stick. Here, I'll give you this. As long as you're wearing the blue necklace, the tower's many booby traps will be totally ineffective.
Alright, let me just take this off for a second and... I don't suppose you'll be wanting a reward for rescuing me. Plenty of things occur while climbing the tower. Mike hurts himself sleepwalking again. Dogi inquires about how Adol likes to get his jollies. We find wallpaper so tacky that it physically hurts you to look at it. And Rhea gets imprisoned. Jeez, these bitches get locked up so often they should consider running for government in the Mushroom Kingdom. Oh. A few more boss battles stand between us and the top of the tower, including Clay Fighter, Horny and Steve,
Psycho Mantis,
all culminating with the battle against the great villain that has been built up the entire game except not at all and was only mentioned once or twice in passing. Otherwise known as Dark Fact. Dark Fact? That's gotta be the dumbest. The flaws in the game design really start to show themselves by this point. You're already max level before you even enter the tower, making all further battles feel more like busy work than any form of progression. I never once died to any regular enemies in the entire tower. That doesn't count. The combat is normally fun in a mindless way, but some boss battles just feel wrong. Oftentimes, you're no longer bumping against the enemy to damage them as much as sorta existing inside them to damage them.
I have no idea what I'm doing!
Absolutely nothing about what makes these games enjoyable shows its face during this tedious battle. Don't get me wrong, I suck massive donkey balls at this game, but still. The battle takes no skill. No real skill, anyway. Learning exactly how fast and at what angle you should move is not skill, it's tedium. There is too much happening and too fast to realistically react to it all. I'm sure there are people out there who could react to it all. There does seem to be people walking among us with the level of reflexes both mentally and physically to react to such things. Skill showcases for games like Quake and whatnot are proof positive of that. As for us actual humans, this battle of attrition is just a matter of desperately memorizing angles and trajectories and rates of fire and movement speeds. Everything that is not what I like this series for. I like this series for the colorful characters, amazing music, wonderfully designed graphics. I don't like it for a cliche anime villain bouncing around the screen like a fucking stock Microsoft screensaver. I'd say the only Japanese game where I had this much trouble on the final battle was one of the Prinny games for PSP. I really wish they'd make another one of those. And another Patapon. Ooh, and Loco Roco. Man, PSP was awesome. I don't want this to seem like I'm ending on a sour note, so I'll make it clear that, while annoying, this final battle does nothing to destroy the joy I feel every time I replay this game. I'm planning on doing a video on each game in the franchise, including the 3 SNES games that I've never played before. I hope you're looking forward to seeing future East videos as much as I'm looking forward to making them. Thank you for watching.